Well, today is an exciting day. That's right, I just got new discs in the mail and I can't wait to try them out. So I thought it would be a good time to make another field throwing video. And today I'm going to talk about all aspects of throwing, especially related to the flick, which is what I usually throw. So let's get started. I have 16 discs and I'm going to go ahead and start with a recent disc that I've added to my bag. It's called the Racket, Hex Racket, which is Swedish for rocket. And it's really good. It usually throws very straight, so I'm going to kind of use it as a control. Now the Hex Racket is a disc that I can usually get to hyzer flip. What does that mean? If you see me throwing hyzer with the forehand, then the backhand is anhyzer. But to make this disc do the same thing, although turn opposite, in other words, if my discs usually curve off to the right, and with the backhand, your discs are usually going to curve off to the left. Now, the hyzer flip. Start off with hyzer, and you power through with the flick, follow through, and the disc should straighten out, and then fade back off to the right again at the end. And there you go. That's why I use it as my control today, because I know what that disc is going to do, and now I'm going to throw some new discs and see if I can get them to do something similar. Now I'm going to start off with this kind of yin and yang decorated Star Eagle. Now this disc definitely is overstable. What does that mean? It's going to curve off to the right. That's what it means. So I can compensate by either throwing it with some anhyzer, or I can also follow through to the left at the end of my throw, just come across a little bit, and that will pull it and make it go a bit straighter. So let's see if I can get this brand new Star Eagle to go basically straight and hopefully pretty far. Not too bad for a disc that I don't know its characteristics yet. Pretty straight, and again, it does tend to just go way right. So that was pretty straight for that disc. Now I'm going to throw a couple bosses. I recently lost, unfortunately, my Starlight boss at Giles. Check out my video of Giles, and hopefully I'll find it. Someone will turn it into me because I do have my phone number on it. Very important to put your phone number on your discs. You want to put your name and your phone number. Also, it's very important, like I did today. Remember, I'm throwing 16 discs. Why is that important? Well, I'll know if I lost one, especially when you're going out to a field like this, or even if you're playing on your favorite course. You never know when you're going to lose one. Know how many you came with, so you'll know when you leave if you've got them all. Okay, champion boss. And I just got a hold of it, and again, it should be a hyzer flip disc. Tends to go a little bit right since it's not very broken in. Well, it's a little broken in. It is a used disc, but still. Now the more broken in, if a disc tends to curve right for you or left or what have you, as you hit trees and throw them and break them in, well, they tend to straighten out a bit. So it's good to play with your discs a bit. Don't just say, this one's no good. Play with it a while, hit some trees, break it in, get some wear on it, and it'll start acting more moderate. There you go, very straight. Now this is a Blizzard Champion boss, and it's kind of special. See? It's the one that was thrown 863.5. Now that one was 156 grams. This one is 137. The lighter the disc, yes, you can throw it farther, but it's also harder to control, especially if it's windy out. This disc at 137 is not a disc you want to throw into heavy wind, unless it's just a total tailwind, and then you can get 863.5 feet. I'm not planning on doing that today, but I do want it to go far and straight. It does throw into a nice S, but again, I definitely have to put some hyzer on it, and hopefully it'll do what it's supposed to do. A lot of glide, easy on the arm, no strain. That's what's great about a light disc. All right, last of the new discs here, the Champion Mamba. So 11, 6, -5, and 1. That means it's a little tougher to throw and control because it is higher speed, but not so high. More like a Destroyer or something like that you should be able to control pretty easily. Now this is the Viking. It's really become a mainstay, a staple of my bag. Very, very controllable fairway driver. Now fairway drivers versus distance drivers. Fairway drivers tend to be more stable, easier for beginners to throw, and straighter discs. Distance drivers tend to be overstable, and you really have to have a strong arm to throw them. So get yourself something like this Viking here. Great all-around disc. It's also tough to make this disc curve. If you throw it on a hyzer, it's just going to straighten up and go straight. So it's really nice to have in your bag because it's basically fail-proof. Even if you throw it wrong with too much hyzer, it'll straighten up. Similar to that is this Thunderbird, TBird actually. So let's see. Yep, the TBird, a very similar pattern to the Viking. Now the Beast is a disc that'll definitely turn over. So you can get it to turn left, which is really tough to do with a flick. I'm going to try to get it to go straight. I'm going to throw it with some hyzer and it'll straighten out. This Avenger SS should be about the same. A little more overstable than those, but still it held a straight line and only curved off to the right at the end. The Wraith. Now I have a separate video on the Wraith as to why everyone should have one in their bag, so check out that video for more info on the Wraith, but you can get this disc to do anything. That one is very light and flippy, likes to turn over on me. I should have thrown that with more hyzer, but still, once you learn that disc, you do a lot of great things with it. Now this Cobra has been my go-to disc lately for mid-range putts and definitely approach shots. You can make it go very straight, it really listens to you, it listens to the amount of hyzer or anhyzer you put into it, and your follow through, and it does exactly what you tell it to do. And it tends to go very straight. Great putt approach. Nice and straight. Now the Champion TBird is a disc that a lot of people use for distance. I actually like it for basically making runs at really long putts, maybe 100, anywhere from like 80 to 130 foot putts. I can go ahead and throw this with some anhyzer and let it fade back towards the basket. Let's say, you see that white piece of paper over there? Let's say that's my basket. All right, I'm gonna throw it, make it curve off to the right, right at that white dot there in the field. Not too shabby, definitely within putting distance. So again, just because somebody else uses a disc in a certain way doesn't mean you need to use it in the same way. Everybody throws the way they throw. That's why it's important to go ahead out into a field like this and learn your discs. Go play alone. Learn your discs. Don't worry about what everybody else says to you. Only you know how to throw your discs. Some people love certain discs, some people hate them, you know? You can love a certain disc and some people hate it. So that's what makes the disc golf world go around. Think for yourself. Now this is not my go-to king, but I do have a more well-worn-in king. But this one can be very tough, speed 14. So to get this one to go far, you can, but you really have to know what you're doing. You want to put a lot of power when you're throwing the king. Again, way overstable, just curve to the right the whole time. Now I can compensate for that by throwing some anhyzer I'll do that next time. The Vulcan, like the King, also overstable. Only a speed 13, but very fast disc. Absolutely the perfect roller disc. I use that one in my Crank SS for rollers. I have an entire video on how to throw a roller, so check out that video elsewhere on YouTube. Okay, this is actually another Boss. It's an X out, so I'm going to throw this one, see how it goes. Similar result to the King, overstable and just turned off to the right. Now this is the second Vibram disc that I use, and this one's called the Lace. It's really good. It's thrown the furthest in many of my which discs throws the farthest for the forehand flick videos, and I like the Vibram discs. They're fun to throw because they feel great in your hand, and they're very textured and grippy, and it's a great place to put your thumb right on that logo there. So let's see what happens. Definitely turned it over today. This time, the longest distance was the Viking. For comparison's sake, nowhere near as far as the Vulcan that I rolled 2 times ago, but still a good distance out of the Viking there. The Hex Racket really threw equally, if not a bit further, but we'll call it second because it's definitely not as straight. Number 3, the Wraith. Number 4 was the Champion Mamba. 5 is the 156 gram Boss. And very close to that, 6 is the 137 gram Boss. So here you are, just to show you in relation. There's the Wraith. The Viking is kind of under the grass over here, you can't really see it, and then here's the Rakatan. And just for reference, the last farthest throw, again, here is the Rakatan. The last farthest throw was over here, and that was the roller Vulcan. Okay, now I'm going to throw these in the opposite order of distance. So I'm going to start with the shortest throwing disc, go all the way to the longest throwing disc. I'm also giving you a nice high angle so you can really see how the throws go. You can check out the angle of the throw, what goes into making the discs go the way they go from on high. Not sure what the results will be at the end, but let's see. Champion TBird. Cobra. TBird. TX. Very flippy Wraith. Much better that time. Boss, XL. Very overstable still. King. As you see, a much different result with that King. The Viking. Oh, that's a great disc. Avenger SS. $137 gram Boss. Star Eagle. $156 gram Champion Boss. Champion Mamba. Hex Racket. What else? Vibram. Lace. turned it over too much. The Vulcan, should we try to roll it again? Yeah, of course. Ah, turned a bit too prematurely that time. Finally the beast. Yeah, turned too early that time too. Oh well, let's see how they did. Okay, so the top 3 throws that time. Here we go. The Viking, which again has become a real staple of my bag. Very straight, very easy to control, and I love it. Great disc. Also, same can be said for the Hex Racket. Definitely a new staple of my bag, and it definitely goes the distance. It gets there straight. Lastly, the third top, this Wraith here. And this one again, very flippy, which means it tends to turn over, but I use that by really giving it some super hyzer and letting it just straighten out and S-curve back. So that's what you want to do to some of these distance and fairway drivers. Now, as for my new discs, the Star Eagle, very overstable, tends to curve right, but again, with time and breaking it in more, I can learn to control that and use it to my advantage. This one will be good for dog leg rights too. Definitely has good glide, and you can definitely get it to dog leg right very well with the forehand flip. The 2 bosses, well, very cool. Again, 156 and 137. 137 was that distance record, 863 feet or so. But really, these bosses are great discs. As I said, I lost my Starlight boss and I missed it, so I bought a couple more. Get some of different weights, throw them, experience for yourself what the different weights do, and it will help you improve your game, and it will help you pick an ideal weight for you and your arm speed and the form and the way you throw. And that way you can go about ordering other discs maybe in that same weight range. And lastly, of the new discs was this Champion Mamba. Now, it definitely tends to be overstable and turn right for me, but again, you can learn to use that for your advantage. A lot of people really like these Mambas. So really, go out to a field with all the discs you can gather. Go with friends. Maybe you can trade with them and really see what works for you. Don't worry about what works for other people. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you've learned something today from watching my videos. Remember to count your discs before you go throw, and count them again before you leave. That way, you always end up with all your discs. Again, I hope you've learned something today. Check out all my other disc golf videos. I play many disc golf courses, and I talk about the techniques that go into throwing these discs at certain angles for dogleg lefts, dogleg rights, rollers. Check out my videos for discs you should definitely have in your bag, like the Destroyer, the Wraith, and the Valkyrie. And also, if you like cars, check out my Drivin Ivan car review videos. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and on Facebook as well. And don't forget to subscribe to me on YouTube. I'm Ivan Katz.